Today we are really expanding our horizons in Way of the Hunter, heading up into the mountains in a couple of different regions. I went ahead and purchased passes to the area in the southwest and in the southeast, and we're just going to go and see what we can find. I'm hoping to run into mountain goat, maybe bighorn, I assume elk are in some of these areas, and probably even some mule deer I would expect to see up in these high altitudes, but we have primarily spent time in the lower lands on Nez Perce Valley, so I'm excited to see what we can find today. And finally, for the first time, we get to see bighorn when they are not running away. On a couple of occasions we spotted them down closer to the starting area, but they've always been spooked at the time, and I'm not sure any of these rams are all that big, but we'll definitely try to sneak in there and get one of them. They're kind of out of spotting range, so tough to tell if any are going to have any kind of potential or anything. And I'm not sure here, once we leave this vantage point, it may be tough to actually get eyes on them again. Maybe we'll take another closer look with the scope again. Like, that guy looks pretty solid. I think that's most likely the one we want, but if that's like a 3-star adult or something, he eventually could end up being really good. So I don't even know how to get down from here, and we definitely don't want to be running when we do it. I guess maybe we can try to scoot down and get closer, but it's gonna be tough. I wish we could just get about 50 yards closer and just spot them and know from here. And we also have down there at least one bull elk, maybe 2 bull elk in a herd to our left. Now, I don't want to remove our marker. I actually think what we could do is leave a tracking marker down there. Not sure where they're going to be headed. It kind of looks like maybe these ones out front are slowing down a bit. But as for now, we should be getting close to where we can spot these bighorn again. And this is why I kind of wanted to take a shot from a distance there. It's tough to know where they're going to be and if they're still going to be close to our marker. I think we're going to be okay to at least crouch to this edge. But much closer than that, we're going to have to be crawling in. So we'll see, but these mountains are up there with any mountains in any game I've ever played. They just do such a good job of simulating all the little kind of draws and places that animals can hide. And as we can see here, the bighorn that we spotted from far away are not so easy to spot now. So got one young one there, and it kind of looked like there was another one down lower. This may not be a simple process. I don't know if that's the one. It's a 2-star mature. I gotta be honest, to call this a challenge, hunting the bighorn up here like this would be a massive understatement. I know we could try to hunt them while they're drinking. I just find this to be a lot more realistic. And trying to stay ahead of them and keep eyes on them, and of course move slowly enough to not spook them, has been really, really tough. But I think we're in a good spot here. I thought I saw one bigger than this guy here, so we're gonna wait this out for now. We've got another kind of decent one up in there. Looks like maybe a good kind of potential young one, but I was so sure at that range we saw more horn than this, and we've got a while till they're gonna be out of sight, so we'll just keep on spotting around and seeing if we see anything better. Wait, that might be the one that I was actually thinking that we saw. I don't know where that came from. That is a 1-star adult. You can tell he's got one good side and one poor side. I guess maybe, I don't know, he's broadside. Obviously fairly poor genetics. That may be the one to go for, especially given the shot angle. So I think we're gonna go ahead and stick that in the lungs. Obviously the new perk unlocked tells us that it was definitely a lung shot, and probably in this area more than any other. Keeping an eye on the animal and ideally just watching it go down really could make a big difference. I don't think it would be difficult at all to lose track of where they go. If they go into some brush or behind a rock, they could pretty well disappear, and quite honestly, we took that shot knowing it was probably going to be single lung. Because of the shoulder and the way that he was standing, I just didn't see it likely it was going to be anything else, but he's bedding there. I wouldn't mind. Given the fact that they've run some distance, they may end up slowing back down, and if we can get the mature as well, I would definitely try to go for that shot. I'm not even sure where they got to, though. In fact, they are way over there, but that's got to be him. Now 400 yards away, I think we just go 300 win mag here and accept the meat loss. So that is this guy now, I think, or this one here actually. If he ends up going back broadside for us, we'll go for it, but he's kind of just heading away. The rest were presenting decent shot opportunities. I mean, I guess for now, I wanted to leave a tracking marker there. That didn't really go to plan. That removed the original marker. Luckily, we can still see that one laying there. But oh, he actually just went broadside for us. Maybe we can do it. He looked absolutely smoked. Now, why did we get the same perk unlocked again? I have no idea. But I'd like to, again, if we can, go ahead and mark where he last gets to. Interestingly enough, that one's just feeding. He's going to bed right there. And that'll be 2 bighorn out of this herd, and probably 2 with fairly subpar genetics. But my goodness, I love it up here in these mountains. The terrain, the vegetation, everything is just perfect. And the fact that you do really have that necessity to get up high, glass around, and take your time glassing around in order to try to spot things, it just, they've done such a good job simulating hunting in areas like this. Now, as for our adult, that guy, we shot at 153 yards, actually a little bit of shockwave damage to the heart, but we did shoot straight through that shoulder, which what I tried to do was tuck it right under the shoulder, but worked out well enough getting the shockwave damage and the lung hit. That guy was a 52% genetics adult, so definitely one that we wanted to take out. And we make 344 credits, 1.6 pounds of meat loss. I'm intrigued to see what the meat loss ends up being on the one over here that we shot at 400 yards with the 300, but it looked pretty cool to take one at that range. That was something I was hoping to do, and it's tough. You can't spot them at that range. You don't know if you're messing up something that maybe could grow up to be a much better animal, but because we knew what that was, no big deal to take that shot. And you know, that is pretty solid for a 2-star, I've got to say. We actually got him through the heart, primarily again with the shockwave damage, double lung there from the actual penetration of the 300 at 416 yards. That one was a 72% genetics, so that 2-star mature even still looks fairly solid. And, you know, 40 pounds of meat loss at that range, I can live with that. I mean, the difference in just not taking that shot, or the difference in just spending the time to get close enough to take it with the 7mm Mod 8, I think we're better off taking the long shot, maybe losing a bit of energy and therefore not ruining so much meat, and then just being able to get on to the next area. That might be something to play with a little bit more. I really hadn't paid attention to how much meat loss there is over long ranges with the 300, but maybe that's a legitimate way of hunting. Well, that is pretty cool to see. We've got a black bear up here in the mountains, a 1-star adult, and as you can probably see, it's starting to get pretty dark, so I think we're going to try to go ahead and get this guy with the 300. Look like we should have hit him pretty good. I honestly don't know what kind of animations black bear have, but he looks to be slowing down a bit. I'm almost tempted to try to get a second shot in him, just in case, because I have no idea where he's hit or what's going on, and especially considering the lighting, I figure it's best to just get another round, and if we lose a little bit of meat, that is all good. I actually haven't recovered a black bear yet. There was one that I shot near water that was a lung hit, and for whatever reason, I could not recover that bear, so I'm kind of looking forward to hopefully going and getting this one, and that's probably part of the reason for the second shot. But given the light, the fact that it is about 7:30 in game, I don't think we have a whole lot longer before dark, I thought we'd take that shot and at least try to come away with something before we have to end up going back and resting till the next day. So I don't know if that's blood up there. It may be. Try to get an idea if we made a good shot or not. That is pink blood, so looks like we got him good. It was enough to end up recovering the bear, so our first actual claimed bear, probably the second one that we've actually been able to take out, and quite honestly, the first shot was absolutely fine. And honestly, either bear meat is worth a ton, or we didn't lose that much by taking a second shot. And the second shot really did us no good. I actually thought it was okay, but angle was alright. just a little bit too low to end up getting a vital there. So he was the 1-star, obviously, 473 pounds, and there actually was 100 pound of meat wastage, so would have been worth a good bit more, actually nearly 200 credits more. But not too bad, able to take a bear here at last light. And I don't think I can leave this area till we get a mountain goat. So we'll go and rest, come back in the morning, try to get a mountain goat, and then I do want to go down into the southeast. It's not as mountainous like this, but there are still some mountains down there that I want to go and hunt. I don't know how we didn't spook these guys. I think they kind of know we're here. But there are a couple of mountain goat right on the side of this hill. I'll be honest, I thought that one was better. But this looks to be the one to take based on genetics. It looks like 3 males, 2 1-star adults, and then this young one, which to me I think is actually a really good sign, because it looks to be bigger than this adult, but I think especially with the angles, the fact that they clearly know we're here, we probably want to go ahead and take this guy. Problem is, he is kind of dropping out of where we can get a shot, so I mean, we'll take anything we can here. That guy is a little bit uneven as well, and I believe that's the other 1-star adult. That is a female, and they're just kind of moving around to where it's going to be tough to get them. I don't like this much. I don't know that we're going to be able to get close enough, so I think the move is going to be try to get into a position to take one of these males from here. I just don't think we're going to be able to crawl over there. I mean, I think that's the other male. We can try it. Luckily, no weird hitbox things. Hopefully that was the right one. And I believe that actually is that poor genetic male, so it looks like it worked out. There's some pink blood right there. For all of the time that we've spent up here in the mountains, and then to just come up over this little rise, and there's a bunch of them right in front of us. That was quite the shock, but glad that we were able to take one. I hope we can find it. I don't think tracking on really steep areas like this is going to be a real fun thing, but got the initial blood here, and this may be a good time to take advantage of the tracking markers and kind of allow ourselves a little bit of a direction of travel based on multiple markers. Unless he did drop quickly, but he wasn't even stumbling last we saw him. That said, he did not make it all that far. You can still kind of see the way that our markers worked, and he obviously ran in a pretty straight line. But let's see if we actually got the right goat. I was only basing it off body size when we took that shot. Certainly appears to be a male, and kind of in the back of the lungs, but plenty to bring him down at that range. And that was, oh yeah, definitely one that we wanted to take out. 25% on the genetics, 1-star adult. Glad that we were able to identify that before he kind of dropped down into that area where we couldn't see that well. But we managed to get a mountain goat finally, and these mountains, they may be my favorite area to hunt so far. I don't know that we'll be able to do it for very many streams because this is 2 hours and 12 minutes and I think 4 kills, and 2 of them were in the same herd with those bighorn. If not for them stopping in sight, it might have only been 3 kills, but it is so much fun to just kind of sneak around up here, find the high points, look, glass, all that stuff that you would do in real life. I can't get over how well they've simulated hunting in the mountains like this, but let's go ahead and remove all of the tracking markers, if I can get that to work properly anyway. And I think from here, we're probably going to go ahead and move down into the southeast. I would have loved to spend a little more time going after mountain goats, but 2+ hours in these mountains, and I do want to get to check out the other ones down in here as well. So we'll head straight to the cabin, and we'll see what's going on down in here. I'd expect to see primarily deer species, and naturally the first species we encounter are going to be elk, which I guess technically are a deer species, but I did mean whitetail or mule deer when I talked about my expectations for this area. But there are a couple of kind of below average matures in there. I don't see much for antler anywhere. There's actually another one even down in there, which that is a bull too. Did not look to be that big. I do like that you actually have to have a pretty good clear view of them to get the spotting info, but that's a 1-star adult, so probably we'll go with the 2-star mature. He's not bad, but I don't think he's ever going to amount to a 5-star, and we might as well try to take the best thing we can. So whenever we can get a clear shot in there, which I think we might get a chance at. just in front of the cow. And I don't think he's going far. I wonder if we got him in the heart. Now, again, I've had that assumption on quite a number of kills, and generally it just ends up that the 300 Win Mag is really, really powerful, and double lung is enough to take some of these big animals down. But we've shot a fair few elk, and they normally go a little farther than that. Now, it could be a range thing, it could be a number of different things, but we saw the bighorn earlier at 400 yards run quite a bit farther from a lung shot. So that was, though, just double lung, basically right above the heart. But I'm curious on the genetic potential of this guy. 66%, probably worth taking him out. He was the best option we would have had. And by the way, one kind of cool thing. I don't know how to do it on console. I'm sure you guys can figure that out. But if we hit tab while in the harvest screen, we can actually back out and go and take a picture. I don't know that we're going to. I mean, I guess we can real quick since we're here. It occurred to me after getting the bighorn, and I don't know if it was the shock that we were able to get to or what happened, but I completely forgot to take any photos, so I wanted to, anytime I remember it, I want to take a picture so I can remember to do so when we find bigger animals. It's, I think, going to take a little bit of getting used to, because with Classic, I'm used to having like a trophy shot button in the harvest screen, but lost 8 pounds of meat at that range, not that bad, and another 700 credits out of that. So I'd like to get into deer territory a little bit, and I think maybe we'll start to head down here towards this lake down in this area. Now, I mentioned last night I purchased the pass to hunt this area and walked around a little bit to at least try to familiarize myself with the area to try to make for a better hunt today. And last night ended up producing one of the coolest things we found in Way of the Hunter thus far. Look at the size of that mule deer buck, a 5-star mature, up here kind of on the side of this hill. And my worry is, even though we kind of have a clear shot, I've had some weird hitbox things with different vegetation, and I'm worried those branches may actually block our shot. So I think we're going to want to try to line up something a little bit better. And I'm not too sure the way he's going that we're going to be able to do that, but I'm not willing to risk it from here. And of course now, they're kind of cutting back across the hill, and he is moving a little more quickly than I would like. So if we can find a gap in the trees, and I don't know where, we might need to kind of hurry. That's our buck. And we're not taking the shot until he gets out here into this clearing by the does. I don't want any trees, any vegetation that could block the shot. And we might be getting our chance. That looked absolutely perfect, and he is already starting to stumble with our 7mm Mod 8 up here on the side of the hill. After, for a second there, it looked like they were going to just trot off. We might have finally gotten our first 5-star with antlers, and I probably should have paid more attention to where he went. At least we left a marker right away. But I haven't even hardly seen a 3-star mule deer yet, let alone a 5-star. And there was another big one in that herd. I think that was a 4. I had a hard time spotting anything up here in between the trees, but the blood is right here. That is pink blood. He's not going to be going too far. And not the easiest track, but he is down right here in quite possibly the worst position for a trophy photo. So that will have to be for the trophy lodge. 140.5 yards away. Got him double lung there at that uphill angle. A 5-star mule deer buck and a 99.82% on the genetics. I wonder, 469. Probably. He's early on in his maturity. I believe, had we actually let him go, and there was no way I was doing that as our first 5-star, he may have actually reached basically max score at some time. But I don't think I'm going to worry about that. We're taxing him and sending him straight to our trophy lodge. We've got birds basically and some 4-stars in there, and finally we've got a 5-star, and it is clearly one of the best genetic animals we could have found. After all that time, where basically every antlered animal we saw was 3 stars or below, other than the 4-star whitetail buck we shot on day 1 of early access, just seeing that 5-star come up was almost surreal to finally have it on an antlered animal. But this area down here in the southeast must just have some of the best mule deer genetics, maybe on the entire map. I mean, as you can see there, we've got a 4-star buck, a 3-star buck, and I think there was a second 3-star in here as well. And I have a lot of hope for these to maybe be bigger one of these days, but something like this, a 1-star adult, I think we can go ahead and try to take out. Now, the wind is not good, they're kind of trying to move off, so I think we may attempt a kind of back of the neck shot here. That is going to be effective. It's amazing to see the blood splatter when you make a shot like that, but I'm really encouraged about this spot, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the 3 stars and 4-star turn into as we continue to move forward. Now, I have to give a big thanks to Mel's Gaming. She was the one that tipped me off to the spot being this good, and I believe she has a video out already with a lot of crazy stuff from down in here, so I'd recommend checking that out. It is one of the best spots on the whole map. I should show again, by the way, far southeast corner, just incredible mule deer genetics, and it seems like it's not just one map. To see that many stars basically in one herd is pretty ridiculous, but the fact that we got the 5-star and the fact that we've been earning credits throughout the day should mean that we need to go back to the trophy lodge here after we see what this guy is. And I am actually rather intrigued. He's the 1-star adult, so I know he's not going to be anything amazing by the time he reaches maturity, but I'm curious what kind of genetics he may have. But look at the blood all over the place when you make those neck shots. It is pretty insane, even at long range like that. But we hit the spine and then the bullet just basically buries in there. But as for this guy, still 81.29% on the genetic potential. All the deer around here, I think, have really good odds, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. It's a little bit, I don't know, worrying that it might just be a 5-star farm. But as for now, not going to complain about the way that we got that, and I am really glad we happened to run into the 5-star away from the lake. That was somewhere up in that area, long after their drink time, and just walking around trying to learn where some of the animals were. But let's go back to the trophy lodge. We do have 4,000 credits to spend today, and I'm making this decision based on the fact that there is so much potential down there in the southeast for some more trophy mule deer. So we're going to go with a mule deer multi-mount, and we could go with the calm or fleeing. There's just, I feel like this platform was made for fleeing. You've got these 2 deer kind of going around this stump. It just seems like that's going to be the way to go. So we're going to select that one, and we'll be able to put our first buck in here. 1,800 credits to taxidermy that, but I think it's going to be worth it. And especially if we really can fill this spot with 3 really big bucks. Now, I did kind of notice, and maybe if we go into the photo mode and change the lighting, it'll be a little bit better. He does not have too much for the ivory tips, which maybe had we let him go a little bit longer, that would have happened. Because we did know he had a really high genetic potential, and I would guess that we shot him maybe a little bit early, but none of the lighting options we're going for really highlight anything. So just a basically all throughout nice looking rack with no ivory tips to maybe differentiate him from some other ones. So hopefully that can be something we encounter later on. But just look at the size of that buck, and just to compare him, we have the 4-star whitetail up here, which obviously is a really impressive deer in his own right, but when you walk over and just see the amount of space this frame takes up, that 5-star mule deer is definitely one of the best things we've seen at all. And to put him up here in this lodge, finally getting to add a 5-star non-bird species, that was really cool to end up getting that, and I'm really excited to continue looking into that spot. Now, I do hope that maybe we can do a little more hunting away from the lake. We shot that 2-star down there, or 1-star maybe it was, right at the water. I'd like to ideally get them away from that for the most part, but it was really cool to see just the amount of big bucks that are down in that area, and I can't wait to see what they become as we continue to move forward. But anyway, that is officially going to do it for this video, so thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.